Hello, I'm Rich. I'm gonna read you a little story. This is a hopping freight back from Reno, Nevada, circa 1990 something or other. Okay. After a few hours of rolling, we stopped somewhere residential in California. The train tracks running down the middle between the backs of houses, a few feet from their wooden fences. Lights in windows, swing sets, barbecues, picnic tables, toys strewn across little backyard lawns. It was strange. It all seemed so small from up on that majestic, gigantic fucker. It all looked like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood from that train. The train sat still after hours of its loud rumbling. It was so quiet all of a sudden. We jumped off and into the rocks, seeming to make all kinds of noise in contrast to that quiet. We sat on the empty tracks parallel to the tracks our train was on, throwing rocks and sticks, thoroughly enjoying doing simply that. Looking across at our train in love and reverence, talking about things, not talking, easily. I felt like such a cross had been thrown off, completely at ease as the conversation and communion went smooth and amusing and sweet like a couple of kids on an Indian summer night. After around 20 minutes or so, the train started moaning and squeaking and slowly moving again. We jumped back into our car like children into mama's arms, giggling and spitting sparks. And we rode that hunk of burning love right on into the Oakland's yard. Now somebody somewhere told one of us, or both of us, might have been that older hobo in Roseville, that the Oakland yard is pretty bad. Bad with bulls and such. And that where you get off in the yard and into the city of Oakland itself is a pretty bad neighborhood, especially for a couple of alleged white boys like us. Whoever warned whomever about all this also warned us that we should just stay on the train till it passes Oakland, even if it meant traveling a bit out of the way for our own safety, security. Well, for some reason or other that I can't recall, we got off in Oakland's yard. Probably because we were crazy and didn't care, and because we were told not to, of course. Getting off this time, I took the advice of another hobo we had met when we were in Reno, and I forgot to mention, who upon seeing me had inquired about my battered face. This kind creature gave me some of the best advice for train hopping ever. He had seen Abe and I walking up the tracks the day we were to hop out and called me over. "What happened to you?" He inquired about my broken face, wincing some. And after I told him the story of my first jumping off a moving train experience, he enlightened me with this gem. Quote, "Listen, if you're on a moving train and you can't count the ties on the track, it's going too fast to jump off. Jump when you can count them ties. And when you're getting on a moving train, if you can't count the bolts on the turning wheels, it's going too fast to jump on. When you can count them bolts, it's going slow enough to hop. Besides, you have an appointment somewhere? What's the rush?" He knew these were rhetorical questions, so he continued. "If you're going too fast to get off at the place you had in mind, to just pass on through and get off at the next stop, then backtrack, hitchhike back, hell, walk the tracks back, whatever. You don't have anywhere to be on time on a certain day. You're free. Enjoy it. Don't kill yourself. And if the friend you're traveling with don't understand this and he just has to jump off, let him go. He ain't your real friend. Same thing applies for your traveling partners when getting on a train. If they just gotta get on that fast-moving fucker, let them. If you don't feel safe jumping on, don't." Unquote. I thanked him like mad. This kind stranger was a guardian angel in the flesh, and a huge burden of terror was lifted off my back. I mean, I loved riding on them freight trains, but the whole jumping on, off, moving one, super dangerous stuff, especially for how I was, drunk most of the time, klutzy, pigeon-toed, spaced out. Well, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I've never been much of a thrill seeker, not much machismo to speak of. Just a seeker of what feels good and the easiest route to that feeling. Well, lucky, lucky me, that train we caught in Reno that night stopped right in front of us. Well, the middle section of that long, rusted beauty. And we waltzed from the shadows and bushes up and onto it, no problemo. And when that train got to Oakland's yard, it slowed down enough, allowing us to hop off, no fretting. So I didn't have to utilize that seasoned hobo's wise advice just yet. But just knowing it made that ride that much more blissful and easy, minus the thoughts of possible impending doom, disembarking it whilst it moved, or moved too fast. Nope, no more of that, thanks to that holy old hobo. Oakland's yard is big, with tracks going every which way, trains scattered all over, huge towers and stadium lights, bull-looking trucks aplenty. It was somewhat intimidating rolling slowly through it, but this sort of transcendental quality came over me from riding that train for all the hours. I don't know, I almost felt untouchable. I've talked with other freight train hoppers, and 9 times out of 10, they can relate to that sort of train transcendence. It's mostly the eyes, the transmission, communion, the way they light up, connecting with the light in mind when we talk about riding the rails. I understood now that strange light in Abe's eyes, felt it now, reflected in mine. I think Mr. Tom Waits put it best when he sang, "Some men are searching for the Holy Grail, but there ain't nothing sweeter than riding the rails." Yeah, amen. Sweet indeed. I looked over at Abe as we rolled through the enormity of Oakland's yard. He looked just as calm as can be. We were a couple of monarchs, royal and anointed with train smoke, dirty with free, clean dirt, immune to the laws of the world. We jumped off easy, that train rolling about 5 miles an hour, them ties counted just as easy. And of course, Abe knew his way out of there, and we walked right on out of an opening in the barbed wire crown chain-link fence into the streets of Oakland. And we carried that calm royalty right through the night streets, walking slow, passing smokes. The streets were loud with activity, people everywhere, cars, music, sirens, trash. It seemed to be a rundown, poor part of the city, mainly with people of a darker pigmentation of skin than us two. We were probably the only dirty, so-called, quote-unquote, white boys within a 5-mile radius. We got some looks, but no one gave us any trouble. The looks we got reminded me of people looking at a rare species of animal at the zoo. I wasn't the least bit afraid of any harm coming to us, and I'm positive Abe felt the same. Just a couple of poor, strange kings passing through. The world, more than ever, seemed like such a grid, a game, and all the people, costume players of this little game, taking it all so seriously. So seriously they didn't even know it was a game, and us two, above it all, while completely immersed in it. We got to the BART station, took a train to Fremont, and I called Lucky and Campbell to come pick us up as the bus had stopped running. He was groggy from sleep and had to work the next day at his self-teaching job, but said, "I'll be there in about 30 minutes. Lucky is awesome, a true friend. Abe and I sat, passing what was left of his flask of that African rum, giggling, not saying much, basking in a warm buzz. The buzz from the rum, the buzz from the journey, waiting for Lucky. We got to Campbell, and Lucky let us sleep on his rented room's floor rather than driving the extra distance to Abe's Stanford cubbyhole or having us sleep under the bridge. Lucky wanted us to go right to sleep when we got in his room. I guess he figured or hoped we would comply and just go to sleep so he could catch a couple of hours of shut-eye before he had to go teach English to a bunch of high school girls. But yeah, no. As soon as the light was off and I lay there on my dirty sleeping bag, peering into the dark, I got absurdly giddy. Everything had changed. My world was transfigured. My little wicked, wretched life was now wonderful and busted wide open like a blooming sunflower on a clear, sunny day. When you're smiling, laughing, the whole world is smiling, laughing with you, all that. Yeah, I was born again, all right. And the joy I felt was uncontainable. I started giggling with a vengeance. I put my hand over my mouth, but I just couldn't keep the laughter, the delight in. On the other side of Lucky's bed where Abe lay, a crazy, spastic laughter was emitted that only Abe could produce. Of course, this made it worse, or better, and I laughed even harder and more idiotic. I almost didn't recognize myself, that laughter coming from me, and I liked it. But I guess the whole world doesn't always laugh with you, as Lucky didn't share our mirth. I I do believe he was already resentful for having to be awakened for the fact that he had to go and pick us up when he had to work early the following morning. Totally understandable, but no less funnier. Sorry, Lucky. Shut up! I gotta be up in like 3 hours. Sorry, Lucky. We both draw like a couple of bad kids again. Who didn't feel bad at all. I tried to can it, putting the pillow over my laughing face and everything. Abe must have heard my muffled laughing, or maybe he just wanted to stir the pot, as I've often seen him do. Because after only a few moments of strained silence and a few sighs from Lucky, out came a burst of unhindered belly laughs from that madman on the other side of Lucky's bed, triggering the pillow to fall from my face, and that face emitting teary-eyed side splitters. Lucky was not happy at all. Yo, shut the fuck up, my roommate's gotta work too. What the hell is so goddamn funny anyway? Which of course brought about more laughter. His seriousness was just way too much. Sorry, Lucky. And it just kept coming. That uncontrollable laughter that makes it hard to talk. That laughter that makes you weep. Lucky was really pissed now. I thought he might get up and start punching us. It wouldn't be the first time. But that'd probably trigger us even more. The delirium, the mad delight just had to run its course. If Lucky would have just let it run its course, we'd maybe have stopped sooner. But of course he couldn't, and of course we couldn't stop. It had become a dance. Fuck, shut the fuck up. You sound like a couple of little girls. This struck us both as downright hilarious. And we laughed even harder. This went on with seconds of calm in between outbursts till Lucky jumped up. Here it comes, I thought. He's gonna kick our asses. And grabbed his blanket and pillow in a huff and stormed out of the room. Go ahead, you fucking assholes. Laugh it up. I gotta sleep on the couch because of you two little boys giggling. I wanted to stop him. I wanted to stop laughing, to let him rest for work, to be a law-abiding citizen, a conscientious friend. Really, I did. I can't speak for Abe, but I couldn't. I couldn't do anything but laugh till it hurt. It was a laughter that had been murdered for years, pulling a major Lazarus. Everything just seemed so righteously ridiculous. After Lucky left for the living room couch, Abe and I shared our cosmic clown conversation for a little while more. No words exchanged, just laughter thrown back and forth from our individual side of Lucky's empty bed. Eventually the laughter died down and sleep came. Or we laughed ourselves to sleep. Is that possible? I'm going to say it is. Thank you.